What is it that he said online that kind of upset you and didn't want to shake his hand for?
Just a lot, just, him being just dismissive. Just saying little things and, how he gonna retire me and just saying little stuff. And, man, this at the end of the day, this is a war. I'm coming into a foreign territory, he's coming to retire me and, take my name, and I'm coming to foreign territory and, conquer his stadium, conquer his country. So I don't think there's no need for just shaking hands and ha-ha, and then next thing you know, we trying to knock each other head off. Like I told him, I'll shake your hand, give you a hug after the fight. But right now it's game time, it's war time, and we...
One person that you fought is about to have a fight. Errol Spence, he's about to go to Australia and fight Tszyu. What do you think of the fight, and who do you think wins?
That's a good matchup. Spence hasn't fought in what, like two years?
Since
maybe?
the Crawford fight, yeah.
3 years, maybe 2 years. That's a good fight for him to come back, because Tszyu is also not at his prime anymore. He's been hurt, he's been knocked out. So that's actually a pretty good matchup for a return. It's also a good matchup for Tim. If he beats Errol Spence,
big name,
he gets another shot at something bigger. So
I think that's gonna be a good fight, man. Everybody just sleeping on my man Spence, man. I think Spence gonna do what he's supposed to do, man. And then he fighting a guy that can really fight. You know what I mean? I'm not saying he's a good boxer, nothing, but he comes to fight. You know what I mean? So this is gonna be a good test for Spence, I think.
Man, is he all the way ready? I mean,
looking good, strong. He's working with Rodney Shields right now.
Okay, but is he really? He's strong hitting the bag and stuff. But what about receiving?
The receipts, yeah, I don't know.
What about the receipts? How's his body gonna take the receipts? And we see how good look getting hit. I mean, hitting. What about getting hit back?
Yeah, this ain't a body show.
I don't know.
Yeah, training camp's been good. I went to Thailand for 3 weeks, so been grinding it out there in the heat, trying to find every 1% that I can possibly find. Some things were working, some things weren't. Some things were hard, some things were easier. And that's the best part about boxing, best part about our sport. Learning and evolving, and now back here home, I'm starting to fire and getting...
Thoughts on the main event, Errol Spence versus Tszyu?
What a great fight again, great matchup. Two guys that are in crossroad parts of their career. Tszyu, who's been flying the Australian flag for the last handful of years, our superstar fighter. And Errol Spence, again, he was at the top of the pound for pound list before he lost to Terence Crawford. So, yeah, a very exciting matchup. I believe Tim's going to get the job done. I think us having that hometown advantage is going to come in our favour. And yeah, it's going to be a big night for Australia.
Errol Spence Jr. is all set to make his boxing comeback this July, and while everyone is excited to see the former unified welterweight champion return to the ring after a 3-year layoff, the question on everyone's lips is whether he can take the brutal punches at a higher weight class at 36 years old. Spence has been out of action for far too long, and the ring rust has probably gotten to him. Boxing experts are now sounding the alarm on Spence taking such a massive leap after a prolonged absence. Legendary trainer Robert Garcia warned that Spence's comeback could be a major misstep. He slammed Errol for not fighting a tune-up fight, implying that jumping straight into the Tszyu fight could prove to be a massive mistake. Praising Tszyu's performance against Denis Nurja, Robert believes the Australian has the skills and jab to be a competitive fighter. Garcia believes Spence has nothing more to show, and Tszyu wins the upcoming fight. Current WBC super welterweight champion Sebastian Fundora had similar concerns regarding Errol taking this fight. Fundora feels this matchup is highly intriguing. While Tszyu has experienced recent losses, Fundora emphasizes that Tszyu holds a distinct advantage due to his consistent ring activity. Conversely, Spence faces severe hurdles, including an extensive layoff, a devastating defeat against Terence Crawford, and multiple car accidents, which represent much heavier setbacks. Although Fundora recognizes Spence remains an elite talent capable of scoring a knockout, he ultimately favors Tszyu. He argues that the layoff is simply too extreme for anyone to realistically return to the ring and immediately replicate their peak performance.
Your last fight, you fought Tszyu. You won that one. It's speculated that he's going to be the fight that Errol comes back on. Can you give me some insight, since you were in the ring with him, and if you think that would be a good fight or not for Errol?
I think it's an interesting fight. You know, this guy's been losing. Tszyu's been losing, but at least he's been active. You know, at least he's been active. Spence hasn't been seen anywhere in boxing, in the ring, wise.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think losing to Crawford like that, then taking the layoff like that, and then getting the car accidents, these things are bigger losses than just the losses that Tszyu had, you know? I favor Tszyu in the fight. I won't be surprised if Spence knocks him out or win. I mean, Spence is still one of the top dogs, you know? You can never take that away from him, you know? But it's just too much of a layoff, you know? That's way too much of a layoff for anybody in anything, you know? You just can't expect to come back into the ring and be that guy who you were before.
Yeah.
Spence might be enthusiastic about his comeback, but there are glaring problems that he might be ignoring before this massive decision. Boxing analyst Chris Algieri feels that Errol Spence isn't planning his comeback well. He stated that this comeback could end in disaster. While agreeing that Spence's opponent, Tszyu himself, is going through a bad run, Algieri raised question marks over Errol and how much he's got left in the tank. Algieri also notes that while Spence traditionally avoids tune-up fights, long layoffs inevitably introduce ring rust. Algieri points out that Spence became more flat-footed and willing to trade punches later in his career, an entertaining but damaging style that ultimately compromises a fighter's longevity.
Yeah. So, is that a good fight for him coming off of what's it been, like 2, maybe 3 years?
Is it a good fight? Yes. But the question marks surrounding him are there. And, you know, because he's been so absent from the sport, he's been inactive. He is coming off, you know, that really bad loss to Terrence Crawford. How much is really left in the tank? Only him and his team will really know at this point. How is he going to react to punches on fight night? We're never going to know. But honestly, Tszyu is coming off a really bad run himself. So I do actually think it's a good matchup in terms of timelines, their timelines crossing. It makes sense. It's not like we're throwing, Errol right into Virgil Ortiz.
Right.
That I would be very concerned about and really wouldn't want to see that. But this fight makes sense.
Yeah. How does that fight look? I mean, it's been a while since we saw Errol.
Really, I couldn't tell you. Really couldn't tell you because we don't know how much Errol has. I think Errol at his best would be one of the top guys at 54.
Yeah.
You know, but we haven't seen Errol at his best in a very long time.
Is that hard, being a fighter on a long layoff? Is that hard to get right back in there like that?
Yeah, but he's made a career on it. Errol is Mr. I don't do tune-ups, you know, and he's coming off a long layoff.
Though?
I don't think so. I think, you're going to deal with ring rust because, I think of Errol at his best is when he was really busy and fighting often, and he had a style that he was in and out. You saw some of that his amateur pedigree, the way he fought me and Mikey Garcia. He fought very, very smart. He didn't take unnecessary damage. But later on in his career, you saw him. He was a little more flat-footed. He was more willing to engage. It was way more fun to watch. But that's not made for longevity, you know. And when you're not fighting as often, your timing's a little off. You get hit with big punches early on. And getting hit with big shots, I don't care who you are, it adds up.
While boxing analysts are concerned for Spence, Robert Garcia's brother Mikey feels that this is a 50-50 fight for both boxers. Mikey Garcia believes that Tim Tszyu is no longer in his prime, and recent results suggest that his time in the sport is done. Garcia feels this is the perfect opportunity for Spence to make a strong comeback. However, he also warned that Tszyu will come into this fight all guns blazing, and the home advantage gives him a great chance of winning. He also talked about how it helps rejuvenate the Australian boxer's career if he wins this fight.
One person that you fought is about to have a fight. Errol Spence, he's about to go to Australia and fight Tszyu. What do you think of the fight, and who do you think wins?
That's a good matchup. Spence has been fighting, what, two years?
Since
maybe?
the Crawford fight, yeah.
3 years, maybe 2 years. That's a good fight for him to come back because Tszyu is also not at his prime anymore. He's been hurt, he's been knocked out. So that's actually a pretty good matchup for a return. It's also a good matchup for Tim. If he beats Errol Spence,
big name,
he gets another shot at something bigger. So that's a good matchup for both, actually. But he's going to Australia, so that's a little iffy there.
No, plus when you travel that far, it takes a long time to adjust to the weather, the food, the time. Yeah.
Yeah, it could be a little tricky, but matchup-wise, it's a good matchup.
50.
Speaking of Tim Tszyu, he's excited about this fight. In an interview, he talked about how fighting in front of home fans excites him. He mentioned his training camp in Thailand has helped him get significantly better. He also talked about training with his new trainer Jeff Fenech, expressing that he's experiencing a sudden calmness about the massive fight. Tim expects to bring his best in the ring this July.
Okay, Tim, how excited are you to have this fight against Errol Spence in Sydney?
Yeah, I'm very excited to have it back home. Only good memories here, so it's exciting.
How has your training camp been so far?
Yeah, training camp's been good. I went to Thailand for 3 weeks, so it's been grinding it out there in the heat, trying to find every 1% that I can possibly find. Some things were working, some things weren't. Some things were hard, some things were easier. And that's the best part about boxing, best part about our sport. Learning and evolving, and now back here home, I'm starting to fire and getting it good now.
What have you learned under Jeff Fenech? What changes has he made?
Jeff's brought a certain calmness now back into camp, and I haven't had it ever. You know, the team, everyone bonding together. It's refreshing to have that. You know, it's just good to have no stress, and all you're thinking about is boxing and your fight and evolving, and that's been my main thing.
What version of Tszyu should we expect to see in this fight?
The version, just happy, and when I'm happy, I think that's the most dangerous part. You know, when you're just focused on what you got to do, and you don't have these other bullshit stuff coming along around you. It's refreshing to have that, and I'm learning more in the game now. You know, and that's what it's been about.
During the interview, Tszyu also talked about the haters wanting him to lose. He specifically took shots at Spence for his recent comments and Shakur Stevenson, who said that he hopes Tim loses to Spence. Tim doesn't want to trash talk and intends to respond to the critics by beating Spence on fight night. He also talked about the undercard and Spence's rival Jermell Charlo fighting fellow Australian Koen Mazoudier, calling it a massive opportunity for both boxers.
Errol Spence called you disrespectful on a podcast this week. Do you have any response to those comments?
Nah, that's alright. He talks it up and whatever. It is what it is. I'm not getting into that talk shit type of smack anymore. You know, it's I'm just here to cause pain.
Shakur Stevenson said this week that he hopes Spence beats you up. What do you make of those comments as well?
It's another one, another hater. What can you say? I actually like Shakur Stevenson, but I do rate Tank Davis better, so yeah, let's do it like that.
What about this event in general? The undercard looks great. What are your thoughts on Charlo coming to Australia and going against Mazoudier?
Yeah, I think it's an awesome opportunity for Cohen. You know, I was actually having a chat with him 6 weeks ago, and he was sort of like, "Oh, what am I going to do?" He was in that type of stage, and then out of nowhere, look what happens. He gets to cement himself into boxing history books, and that's what it is. The best thing about boxing, you never know when these opportunities come. Sometimes you feel you're down and out, and nothing's there, and then boom, something comes along. You know, you believe in yourself, you believe in God, you keep training hard, you stay focused, and the opportunities will come. So I'm happy. It's a blessing for it to be on such a big card, and it's awesome.
Speaking of Errol, he too has returned to training with none other than the legendary Ronnie Shields. The veteran trainer recently got candid about what Spence needs to do to get back to being a world champion again. Shields explained that Spence has been one of the most avoided boxers until the defeat to Terence Crawford. He feels that Spence is an exceptional fighter and he needs to get rid of the ring rust. Shields is confident that Spence can indeed make a spectacular comeback as he fights for the belts in a new weight class.
Here with trainer extraordinaire Ronnie Shields. Ronnie, we're here to talk about the Spence-Tszyu fight. It's going to be a big fight. Spence coming back. Tszyu's trying to make his comeback after those defeats from Fundora and everything. What do either have to do to come out victorious and not just become crossroad challengers from this point on?
I mean, I don't know what Tszyu has to do, but and I don't care what Tszyu has to do because I'm with Spence. So.
I know.
But I think for Errol, Errol just had to be Errol. You got to get back to what got him to where he's supposed to be. Errol. He has one defeat. And that's against Errol Crawford. But before then, people were avoiding him like the plague. Because he's just that good. So I think he just got to get himself back into shape and get himself positioned to where he can do things that he did before.
What have you seen from Errol on his way to this fight and coming back against Tszyu?
Well, just being in the gym with him. We was in the gym for like 3-4 days together, and everything's looking good. He's feeling good, and he's trying to just recapture.
Speaking of tune-up fights, Shields quickly shut down the talk by stating that there's nothing such as a tune-up fight and that a fight is a fight. Shields directly pointed to Tszyu, who fought Dennis Nuria, recently stating that he was badly bruised and injured in that fight. Shields believes in directly taking on the opponent without looking at how steep of a challenge it might be. He also dismissed the concerns regarding Spence agreeing to fight in Australia, especially considering he's the A side in this matchup. Shields doesn't think that this is much of a concern to Spence or his team, and so they're simply making preparations for the fight accordingly.
Now, I've interviewed Robert Garcia, and I always ask his opinions on things and everything, and he said this is directly his opinion. I'm going to say it a little bit verbatim, but also at the same time paraphrasing. He says he feels that the reason why Spence went direct to a big fight against Tszyu and not took a tune-up fight was because he feels that maybe Spence doesn't have that much left in him. What do you think about that?
Well, what is a tune-up anyway? What is that? I've been hearing, you've been hearing this since I've been in boxing, tune-ups. There's no such thing as a tune-up fight.
Fight is a fight.
A fight is a fight. I mean, okay, if you say Tszyu took a tune-up his last fight, right?
Yeah.
Look what happened to him. He got head-butted and he got cut under the eye. So, he's lucky it didn't get worse to where it prolonged his career. So he couldn't even take this fight, But, it wasn't that bad. So that's why he's able to take this fight. So, it's no such thing as a tune-up fight.
How do you feel about Spence having to travel to Australia for this fight? Considering, his name is the marquee. His name is first. We know how boxing works and everything, but he has to travel to Australia for this fight.
Well, he agreed to do it. So, hey, so it is what it is. It's got to be a reason why he agreed to do it. I haven't spoken to him about it. So he don't mind going to Australia. So let's do it.
Finally, boxing legend Shane Mosley recently shared his thoughts on Spence's comeback. Mosley is highly skeptical about Spence, primarily regarding him taking a hit at this age after the accidents and the beating he endured against Terence Crawford. Mosley quickly dismissed talk about Tszyu being an easy opponent, stating that he's a good boxer who's capable of causing damage. He also expressed concern for the winner of this fight potentially taking on Sebastian Fundora, who is considered the most dangerous boxer at 154.
He's looking good. He's strong. He's working with Rodney Shields right now.
Okay, but is he really? He's strong hitting the bag and stuff. But what about receiving?
The receipts, yeah, I don't know.
What about the receipts? How's his body gonna take the receipts? And we see how good look getting hit. Hitting. What about getting hit back?
Yeah, this ain't a body show.
I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Some people really believe in Spence in this fight. Actually, Robert Garcia is kind of insinuating similar things that you're saying. Is he really the Errol Spence we know?
Right.
After that tragedy with Terence Crawford?
The car and then Terence Crawford, yeah.
Yeah, back to back.
Yeah, boom, boom, and now you're like, how good can you take the shots now? Because when you fought Terence Crawford, you was falling down, you couldn't really take the shots after the car thing, you know what I'm saying? How well, are you damaging your body? I don't know, we will see when he fights. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, people are excited for it, but in the same time, a lot of people say that Errol Spence is in a different league than a Tszyu. But Tszyu, I mean,
Tszyu can fight. Tsz유's in a good league too. He ain't in a bad league. Tszyu can fight.
There you go.
But I think that what they're trying to do is if they can beat Tszyu, they're gonna go after what's the tall kid's name again? Fundora. Yeah.
The boxing world isn't fully convinced about Errol Spence making a comeback. While they're happy for the former star boxer, they feel that he's going to be boxed into retirement by Tszyu. But do you agree with the expert hashtag degrees? Can Errol Spence prove the doubters wrong? Let me know in the comments. That's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned and we will catch you in the next video.